So he went to Umar and complained that so Abbas is not going to meet our surah, meaning Abbas is not going to get killed. And so this what he was saying got into Prophet ﷺ. Someone went and told Prophet that this is what Abu Hudayfa is saying, and Prophet didn't say anything to him. Then Abu Hudayfa realized what he said was completely wrong, and Umar said to Prophet, why don't you let me cut off his head? This guy is an hypocrite. Let me cut off his head. Prophet said, no, do not do anything to him, just leave him. Then Abu Hudayfa said, that's when I realized I have committed one of the worst sin ever in my life. And I was wondering if because of this one thing that I just said about Prophet's uncle, if that would not drag me to hellfire. I was wondering if Allah would ever forgive me. Then he said, because of that, because I was so worried, I asked Allah to make me one of the shaheed in one of the next battle. So that way I would know that Allah forgive me. So he prayed that Allah would make him shaheed, meaning a martyr. So that way he would know that then Allah forgive him for what he just said. Allahu Akbar. So Prophet as being sympathetic toward this man, because he knows the man lost his father, he lost his uncle, he lost his brother. That's not easy. And he was saying this thing out of the emotion, out of the emotion. And he didn't really mean it, but at that time he was really, really angry. That's where he said it. Prophet understood it. So then Prophet comes to him and consoles him. So when right after the battle, so all this dead body, when the Muslims were carrying the dead bodies and trying to throw all this dead body into the well, this empty well, we're going to talk about that inshallah. So he saw this man Abu Hudayfa saw his father is being dragged. His father's dead body has been dragged, and his uncle and his brother has been dragged and be thrown into the well. And that's when Prophet came to him and trying to console him and said, I know it's not easy, seeing your family like this is not easy, but be patient and so forth. He said to Prophet ﷺ, he said, oh Prophet, I'm really, really, sad for my father, because I know my father was a great man. He was a really, really good, genuine man. But to see him end up like this, not being a Muslim, he died as a mushrik, that saddened me, So that's my only issue with him, because I was wishing that at some point Allah would guide his heart to the Islam. But unfortunately, this is he ended up like this. So remember, because Utbah was actually a really good man. He was the one who was trying to tell Quraysh to completely, call up this fight. He was the one when Prophet was pointing. Prophet said, you see this man in the red camel going back and forth? If there is any good man among this Quraysh, it has to be this man, which is Utbah. So at that time, Utbah was telling, the Quraysh to go back till Abu Jahl came and said, yeah, you're a coward, you're trying to, even at the battlefield, you're trying to run away and this and that, trying to then pull him back into ignorance. So, sometimes it's just the way it is. So don't let anyone, pull you, trying to trigger you to do something you really don't want to do, But if you're forced to do something, it's different. But that time, Utbah was not forced to fight, but he was mocked. Abu Jahl mocked him and, tell him some word to, intrigue his, his ignorance to, pull him back to fighting. So that another incident that took place. Another incident that took place in this battle, there was a Sahabi named Okasha ibn Mihsan. Some people call it Mihsan, some people call it Mihsan. Okasha ibn Mihsan, he's the Sahaba in one of Prophet ﷺ, his hadith. He was the one, when Prophet was mentioning about 70,000 people amongst his ummah would enter paradise, would enter Jannah without any reckoning, without any, Allah would not ask them anything, they would just enter paradise, 70,000 of Prophet ummah. So when Prophet said that, Okasha ibn Mihsan asked Prophet, oh Prophet, I want to be among one of those 70,000 to enter paradise without without any reckoning. Prophet said, okay, you are among them. So the minute Okasha said that, many of the Sahaba just got up and said, oh Prophet, we want to be among them. The Prophet said, no, Okasha already said this before you guys. So Okasha got ahead of you. That Okasha, same Okasha, he said in the battle of this Badr, he was fighting against a disbeliever. His sword got broken. When his sword got broken, he came back to Prophet. He said, oh Prophet, look at my sword. I don't have sword. My sword is broken. And Prophet took a twig, a branch of tree, twig, a stick. Prophet took a stick, a twig from the ground and gave it to him and said, go forth and fight with this in the name of Allah. Go forth and fight with this twig in your hand. And Okasha, the fact that he believed in Prophet, he believed in Allah, he took this twig and he said he raised the twig, he raised the stick in the air like this, and then the twig turned to be a blade sword, like a real sword. Allahu Akbar. This is one of the miracles. Besides the sending down the 1,000 angels, this is also one of the miracles that took place in the Badr. Okasha's stick turned into real sword in his hand. And he said, I went forth and fight in this battle. Then he kept this sword with him till he became martyr in one of the battles we're going to talk about later, way later on. So some people said he was buried with this sword with him in that other battles. But he did not get killed in the Badr. But he fought with this sword in the Badr, and he always kept this sword with him. So people would call this sword the miracle sword. So this happened for Okasha because of his belief, his trust in Allah, and Allah made this miracle for him. Another incident that took place was the killing of Abu Jahl. Allahu Akbar. So this was narrated by Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he was a wealthy man in Mecca. He converted to Islam, way long when they were in Mecca. So he left all his wealth behind him and moved to Medina. He migrated to Medina with Prophet ﷺ. So when he comes, he was the one when Prophet paired, because we talk about the mu'akhad bayn al-ansar wal muhajirun. So when the ansar and muhajirun were pairing, Prophet paired Abdurrahman ibn Auf with the ansar. And this ansari, he was a really wealthy man. He had a lot of money and he had 2 wives. So he told Abdurrahman ibn Auf, since we became brother now, so take a look at my 2 wives and see whichever you like. I would divorce her and then you can marry her. And then I would split my money into half. You take the half and I keep the half. And Abdurrahman ibn Auf said, no, may Allah put barakah in your family and your money. Just show me the market. I'll go find my own risk. That Abdurrahman ibn Auf, in the battle of the Badr, he said, sometime when you are in the battle, you wish your right side and your left side would be strong men. He wished you would have a strong man in your right side and you would have a strong man in your left side. Why? Because in the middle of the any wars, when you're fighting against your enemy, you always want to have strong people in your right and left side. Why? Because if you're fighting your opponent, let's say if you have a strong man kill his opponent, and so that man could come and help you kill your opponent. So same thing, if your left side is another Muslim, very strong Muslim, and he kills his opponent, he could come and help you kill your opponent. Or if you kill your opponent, you could come and help one of them. So that's why it's always good to have 2 strong people that knows how to fight in your right and left side. So he was rich for that. So he said when he turned around and he saw a young boy, a teenager, maybe 15, 16 years old, in his right side, he said, oh no. He's a teenager? That's not going to help. And he turned left, he saw another teenager, same age. He said, wow, on my left and right, both teenagers? This is not good. And then he said the next thing he knows, the one from the right, the teenager from the right, poke him and call him and said, oh yeah, uncle. He said, oh. He said, uncle, come. So he lowered his ears to listen to what this young boy has to say. He said, this young boy said, oh uncle, could you show me which one is Abu Jahl? From this kuffar, from this disbeliever, which one is Abu Jahl? And he said, why you want to know which one is Abu Jahl? He said, because I heard this man he tortured Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said a lot of bad words to Prophet. He was, he completely did so many wrong things to Prophet. He persecuted Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So because of that, if I see him, if our shadow become one of us will be dead. Meaning, if I come close with him, I'll be dead, or he will be dead. Then he's like, wow, what a brave young man. And then the next thing he knows, the one from the left side also called him. He said, uncle, come. Which one is Abu Jahl? And none of them said the same. So the right side young teenager asked him about Abu Jahl. Now the left side young teenagers is asking the same exact question. Which one is Abu Jahl? He said, what do you want to do with Abu Jahl? Because I heard that he persecuted Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if I see him, I will kill him for sure. And then Abdullah ibn Auf said, wow. So because I was worrying, my right and left side were nothing but a teenager, how's that going to help? So all of a sudden, I gained confidence in myself because I know I have two brave young men from my right and left. And then he said, the next thing I know, I saw Abu Jahl far away. He was surrounded by his guard. He was next to some of the tree and some of the shrub, like a shrub. And he said, I pointed from far away I pointed to Abu Jahl, and I said to the two young men, I said, you see that guy over there, the big strong guy all over there, and he's surrounded? That big guy, that is Abu Jahl. So these two young men, they were competing, who's going to kill Abu Jahl first? And the next thing, Abdullah ibn Auf, he said, the next thing he knows, the two boys just disappeared out of nowhere. So they were looking now for Abu Jahl. They didn't care about others, disbelievers fighting them. No. They just completely, just move away. Now they trying to come to Abu Jahl. They come closer and closer and closer and closer. Till one of them, his name is Mu'awwiz ibn Afrat. One of the young teenagers, his name is Mu'awwiz ibn Afrat. The other one is Mu'az ibn Amr al-Jumuh. Mu'az ibn Amr al-Jumuh. So, and this two, Mu'az ibn Amr, he took Shahada in in Aqaba. We talked about Aqaba. When the Ansar came in group, they took Shahada. So this young boy was among those who took Shahada early as a Ansari. His name is Mu'az ibn Amr al-Jumuh. And the other teenager, his name is Mu'awwiz ibn Afrat. So, then Mu'az ibn Amr moved forth. The first teenager moved forth, getting closer to Abu Jahl. At that time, Abu Jahl's son, Ikrimah ibn Abu Jahl, was guarding Abu Jahl at that time. So when Mu'az come really closer, so he saw Abu Jahl, so he didn't want anyone else to block his way. So what he did, he jumped toward Abu Jahl. He jumped with his sword, but he couldn't reach Abu Jahl's body. So when he jumped, he fell down right by the foot of Abu Jahl, by the leg of Abu Jahl. So he chopped off Abu Jahl's legs completely. So the leg completely cut off. He cut off Abu Jahl's legs. This young man, Allahu Akbar. So when he cut off Abu Jahl's leg, so Ikrimah, which is the son of Abu Jahl, trying to defend his father, took his sword and cut off Mu'az's arms completely. So he completely chopped off Mu'az's arms. So the arm completely was hanging with just by one of the skin. So the arm was completely cut off. Only a skin, part of the skin, was holding the entire arms. Allahu Akbar. So the second boy, the second teenager, Mu'awwiz ibn Afrat, also came from the other side and jumped to Abu Jahl and cut off, and sliced his chest area. He hit him with his sword, sliced his chest area. Allahu Akbar. So these two young men, and this also, Mu'awwiz also got hurt in this. So Mu'az ibn Amr, the one who cut off Abu Jahl's legs, when he saw his arms hanging, because Ikrimah cut off his arms. When he saw his arm hanging by just the when he saw his arms hanging just by just a little skin holding his whole arms, he put his foot right on top of his arm and yanked it off. He completely cut off the remaining of the arms out of the remaining of his body, so that way the arm would not bother him. Allahu Akbar. He completely take the remaining skin that holding his entire arms and yank it off, so that way he could fight with one arm only. So he kept fighting with only one arm, and he kept losing blood from here. So these two young men came back to Prophet ﷺ. One arm is completely cut off, the other one is injured. They come and they said, "Oh Prophet, we killed Abu Jahl." And Prophet said, "You did?" They said, "Yeah, we killed Abu Jahl." Prophet said, "Show me your sword." So they both showed their sword to Prophet, full with blood. And Prophet said, yes, you both are entitled of killing Abu Jahl. So you get that entitlement. Then later on, right after the battle settled, Prophet said, "Who among you, Sahaba, who could go and find the body of Abu Jahl?" Because the two young men said they killed him. So one of the Sahaba, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, we talked about him a lot. He's the one who recited Surah Al-Rahman in Mecca before they migrate, and the Quraysh beat him so badly they think he's dead, and they left him. And he's the one, Abdurrahman ibn Mas'ud. He's the one time, because he was a skinny guy, very skinny guy, little man type, and his leg was kind of curved. He got a true leg curve, So, and one time, the wind was blowing, and the wind took, his clothes out of his leg. So when Sahabi saw him coming, they started laughing, and Prophet said, why are you laughing? They said, "Oh Prophet, did you see the leg of Ibn Mas'ud? It's so tiny, it's so small." They were making fun of him, and Prophet didn't like it. Prophet said, "I swear by whom my soul is in his hand," meaning I swear by Allah, if you take one leg of Ibn Mas'ud, you put it on one scale, and you put the mountain of Uhud, you put in another scale, one leg of Ibn Mas'ud would be heavier in the sight of Allah. Allahu Akbar. And Prophet said the same thing to Ibn Mas'ud by saying, the Quran was revealed in the tongue of Ibn Mas'ud, meaning the way he recited Quran, that's exactly how Quran was sent down. And Prophet said, if you want to take Quran, take it from 4 people. Ibn Mas'ud was one of them. Ibn Mas'ud was the same Sahabi who recited part of the Surah An-Nisa to Prophet. When Allah would say, how would it be when we make you, meaning the Ummah of Muhammad, when we make you the witness upon the entire world, and we make you, Prophet, as a witness to your own Ummah. So when Prophet heard these verses, he cried, and he told Ibn Mas'ud, "Yeah, that's it, that's good enough, that's it." Because when Prophet asked him to recite Quran, he said, "Oh Prophet, the Quran was revealed to you. How would you want me to recite Quran to you? And the Quran was revealed to you." Prophet said, "No, I want you to recite Quran to me because I want to hear Quran from other tongues." That's him, Ibn Mas'ud. So he was saying, so when Prophet asked Sahaba to go find the body of Abu Jahl, Ibn Mas'ud said he was looking around, he found Abu Jahl, but he was not dead yet. He was breathing so hard. He's not dead. He's completely injured. His leg cut off. He took a blow from his upper area, but he wasn't dead yet. So Ibn Mas'ud put his foot on the chest of Abu Jahl, and he said, even though I was doing that, I was scared if Abu Jahl catch my hand, I could never free myself from him, because that's how strong Abu Jahl is. And he said, "Oh, look at you, Abu Jahl. What a disgrace for you. You did all kind of stuff to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Look at you today. What a disgrace. What would you say to yourself?" And reverse psychology, Abu Jahl was trying to play that to Ibn Mas'ud. He said, "Look at you. What a shepherd. You put your foot on my chest? Look at you. What a shepherd. You're nothing but a shepherd. And look at you. What about the war? Who won the war?" And Ibn Mas'ud said, "Prophet, Allah and Prophet won the war." And Abu Jahl said that to Ibn Masud. He said, look at you. You call me a disgrace, but you are the disgrace. Because you killed your own people. You have to go and fight us. And kill us, your own kinship. You see? He is the one who persecuted the Muslim. He's the one who killed many people. He's the one who, tortured Prophet ﷺ simply because they believe in one Allah. But now he's in the death of his, he's about to die. He's still with the arrogance saying that you the one who persecuted, you the one who should be disgraced, and it's kind of like that. That's when Ibn Masud, he wanted to chop off, Abu Jahl's neck, but his sword was kind of all bloody. So he took Abu Jahl's own sword and he removed Abu Jahl's helmet, his armor helmet, and then he cut his neck. He cut off his throat. So, and then Ibn Masud came to Prophet ﷺ and said, so I found the dead body of Abu Jahl. And Prophet asked him 3 times, you found him? He said, yes. You found him? He said, yes, 3 times. So, and Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so the 2 young men were pretty much the cause of his death, because even if you didn't cut him, he was still going to die anyway. So one of the 2 young men, Mu'awwiz ibn Afrad, he's the one who passed away. So the armor of the Abu Jahl was given to Mu'az ibn Amr. Mu'az ibn Amr, so the one whose arms was cut off. So he's the one who inherit, because in Islam, whoever you kill in the battle, you inherit the armors, or the sword. So, and his sword was given, and his armor was given to Mu'az ibn Amr. So that's how he got killed. You see, this arrogant, disbeliever, big, huge, arrogant man got killed by 2 teenagers. Allahu Akbar. You see how humiliating that could be. That's what, when he's dead, Prophet said, Haza Fir'aun ummati. This man, Abu Jahl, is the Fir'aun of my ummah. Look at this. Even Fir'aun was a little better than this man. Why? Because look, in Surah Yunus, Allah said when Fir'aun was about to be drawn, he's about to die. So he said, oh, I believe in the same God that Musa and Banu Israel believe in. I believe in Allah, the same Allah that Musa and his people believe in. See, even when Fir'aun was about to pass away, he said he believed in Allah. But look at Abu Jahl, even in his death bed, he was dying. He was dying on the ground, in the battlefield. He still claimed the hatred of Muslim. He still claimed that he hate Muslim, he hate Allah, he hate Prophet. That's when he was about to pass away. He told Ibn Masud, he said, what about your friend? He didn't even call Muhammad. He didn't even want to pronounce Muhammad's Prophet's name. He said, how's your friend? See, and how he's doing? And Ibn Masud said, yeah, we got victorious. We're doing good. And he said, I used to hate him, but I hate him even more now. I hated him even more now. Allahu Akbar. That's what Prophet called him, the Fir'aun of this ummah. The Fir'aun of this ummah. Allahu Akbar. So another incident that took place is the Umayyah ibn Khalaf. Allahu Akbar. Umayyah ibn Khalaf he was the owner of Bilal. He was the slave master of Bilal. He tortured Bilal and he put Bilal back in the sand. We talked about that. And he tortured Bilal till Bilal was saying Ahad, Ahad. Same Umayyah ibn Khalaf. He was a coward, big man, fat man, rich man. He didn't know how to fight, but he didn't even want to go. He was a coward. He's the one who bought this fast camel. So hopefully, right at the battlefields, he could take off and run away. So that Umayyah ibn Khalaf. So in Jahiliyyah, before the Islam, he was friend with Abdurrahman ibn Auf. They were very close friends. So in this battlefield, so when the camel ran away and left Umayyah ibn Khalaf with his son in the battlefield, so he got caught. So he saw Abdurrahman ibn Auf passing, and he ran toward Abdurrahman ibn Auf and hanging to his arm, and said, "Oh, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, take me as a prisoner, please, please, please. Whatever you want, I will give it to you." even if you want a camel that is providing milk, meaning a camel that the camel with the milk is really expensive camel back in the day. So he said, even if you want that type of camel that is giving milk right now, I'm willing to give you whatever you like, please, but make sure I don't get killed. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf said, okay, fine. He took him as a prisoner. Because back in Jahiliyyah, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, his real name was not Abdurrahman ibn Auf. His real name is Abdu Amr. Abdu Amr. That was his real name. So when he became Muslim, he changed his name to Abdurrahman ibn Auf. So this Umayy ibn Khalaf, when he heard Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said, oh no, my name is Abdurrahman ibn Auf. No, it's not Abdul Umayr. And Umayy ibn Khalaf said, no, come on, please. Even if you're Muslim, I'm not going to call you Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Who's this Rahman? Why you always call Rahman? You see, that's why even in Quran, Allah said, this believer, they would ask you, Mani Rahman. Who is this Rahman? Because that's another name of Allah. But they think Prophet kept saying, oh yeah, worship Allah. But all of a sudden he's talking about Rahman. Who's this Rahman? So now he has two Allah. He has two God now. So Allah saying, Rahman. Either you call Allah or you call Rahman. It's the same Allah. So it's Allah name. So Umayy ibn Khalaf saying, no, I'm not going to call you Abdul Rahman. I'm going to call you Abdul Ilah. Abdul Ilah. He said, okay. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf said, fine, whatever. Call me Abdullah, Abdul Ilah. It's the same thing. Abdul Ilah. Ilah is Allah's name. But he didn't even realize that. So that they have that relationship since from the Jahiliyyah. Now they are in the battlefields and he's clinging on the arms of Abdurrahman ibn Auf. So guess who saw him? Bilal. Allahu Akbar. When Bilal saw Umayy ibn Khalaf, Bilal said, Umayy ibn Khalaf, Ra'asul Kufr, La najawtu in naja. Umayy ibn Khalaf, Ra'asul Kufr, La najawtu in naja. Oh, you, Umayy ibn Khalaf, the head of the Kufr, the head meaning the leader of the disbelievers, I swear you would not succeed if I succeed today. If I don't succeed, that means you succeed. One of us would be dead today. I'm not going to let you be. No way. So now Abdurrahman Auf trying to negotiate with Bilal. He said, no, don't worry about him. I already caught him as a prisoner, so don't touch him. This and that. Bilal said, no, over my dead body. It's not happening. No. You're not going to defend or you're not going to protect this man here, especially after everything he has done. Because even in Islam, you ask even one kid today, after the story of Prophet, the well-known story of any Sahaba is the story of Bilal. You ask any kids, they will tell you exactly what happened to Bilal, how he got tortured. His back was on the hard, blazing, hot, sunny, day. Putting his back on the on the pebbles, really hot pebbles, and he was tortured tremendously. So every person knows Bilal's story. And seeing Umayy ibn Khalaf, who tortured Bilal, sing in the battlefield, and Abdurrahman ibn Auf, because Abdurrahman ibn Auf seeing this as so now he's getting some money, because if he took him as a prisoner, and then for him to ransom himself, he's going to pay all this money to him. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf literally see Umayy ibn Khalaf as he's going to get richer because he's going to take some money from Umayy ibn Khalaf to save himself. But in Bilal's eye, Bilal said no. He has to get it, meaning he has to get killed. So Bilal starts shouting, Ra'asul Kufr, Umayy ibn Khalaf, Ra'asul Kufr. So Sahaba, some Sahaba came and gathered around Bilal, and Bilal started explaining to him, you see this guy? He is Umayy ibn Khalaf. He's the one who did this. So now all of a sudden Sahaba find out exactly who is this man. So now they start defending Bilal. They start getting around. Now Abdurrahman ibn Auf trying to negotiate with all these Sahaba at the same time. But the Sahaba, there are too many of them. So some of them took the sword and trying to poke Umayy ibn Khalaf, trying to poke him with their sword. So if they're trying to poke him, Abdurrahman ibn Auf would try to block it and see. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf said, one of the swords cut his leg, because someone was trying to move around and trying to poke this man, Umayy ibn Khalaf. So So he said, may Allah have mercy on Bilal. This is what Abdurrahman ibn Auf said later on, way later. He said, may Allah have mercy on Bilal. Because of him, I lost my prisoner, and because of him, you see, and this cut on my leg here, it's happened because of Umayy ibn Khalaf, and I lost him as a prisoner, and all the money that I was supposed to be getting, and I lost all that because of Bilal did not want to let go. Allahu Akbar. So this Sahaba gathered and helped Bilal, and they ended up killing Umayy ibn Khalaf and his son. And guess what happened? Allahu Akbar. Only Umayy ibn Khalaf's body was not buried. Only him. But the remaining, even Abu Jahl, they dragged his body and put on the wall and completely covered the wall. But Umayy ibn Khalaf's body was not buried. Why? Look what happened to his body. When the Sahaba were trying to gather all this disbeliever's body, trying to bury them in one big holes or whatever, they found Umayy ibn Khalaf's body was laying on the pebbles. A bunch of stones, hard-bladed stone. His body was, on top of those. So when they're trying to move his body, they could see pebbles, stones are sticking on the back of his body. The stone would not remove. So if they're trying to remove the stone would be removed with the skin. The stone would rip off the skin off his back because his body started decomposing. At some point, his skin started breaking from the pebbles that he was laying on. So they decided, you know what, we can't even touch his body. The body's is getting decomposed right away, and he's laying on that hard pebbles. So what they do, they just left his body, and they found a lot of pebbles and cover the remaining of his body with the pebbles. So meaning they found a lot of stones and covered his entire body with those stones, and they left him there like that. Allahu Akbar. That's al-qadr. This is the destiny of Allah. Sometimes when you do something wrong, Allah would show everyone in this life before even next life how wrong you were. That was his end. And another incident that took place in Badr, inshallah, we're gonna complete with this one, was Abu Ubaidah Amr ibn Jarrah. Abu Ubaidah Amr ibn Jarrah, he was an early convert also, and he was from Muhajirun. His father was Jarrah, Amr ibn Jarrah. That was his father. So in this battle, his own father, he was fighting from the disbeliever, and Abu Ubaidah, he's a Muslim, and his father is not. So his father hated him so badly simply because he converted to Islam. His father hated him so bad. So in this battle, his father was only looking for his own son to kill. So whatever his father come across with him, Abu Jarrah, he didn't want to fight his father, so he would just step back and go somewhere else. And his fathers kept looking for him, till to a point that his father's cornering him. He couldn't go anywhere. So his father attacked him, and he defended himself. He ended up killing his own father, Amr ibn Jarrah. He killed Amr ibn Jarrah. And then the rumor started spreading that, oh, look at him, he killed his own father, he's killed his own father. So Abu Ubaidah became really, really sad. And guess what Allah did? In Surah Al-Mujadala, Allah said, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم أولئك كتب في قلوبهم الإيمان وأيدهم بروح منه ويدخلهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه أولئك حزب الله ألا إن حزب الله هم المفلحون. So Allah said, you will not find people who believes in God and the last day of resurrection. They would never make friends with those who oppose God and His messenger, even if they are their father, their son, or their brothers, or their clan. And these people are the people whose heart faith has been ordained and strengthened with the Spirit from Him. And Allah would admit them to gardens flowing from below, and these are the rivers in which they will abide forever. May Allah be pleased with them, and they will be pleased with Him. Those are the party of Allah, no question. The party of Allah are the successful. So Allah revealed the surah. Some people said this surah was revealed in the matter of Ubaidah ibn Amr ibn Jarrah, Why? Because many people say he killed his father. Allah said no. So if anyone oppose Allah and go against Islam, then, and if those who has iman, those who are believers, they would fight even their own fathers, their own brothers, their own son, or their own clan, their own family. They would fight all of them simply because they're fighting Allah. So they would not show the loyalty to the family, but rather they would show the loyalty to Allah. And these are the people that Allah firmed their heart, Allah put iman in their heart, and Allah helped them with the soul. And Allah would enter them in a paradise in which river flow underneath, and these people would live forever in this heaven. And those people are the party, meaning those people are the people of Allah. And there's no doubt, people of Allah, those who believe in Allah, those who fight for Allah's sake, even if they have to fight their own family, because the family are polytheists, the family are disbelievers. So those are the people that Allah would let them live in paradise forever with beautiful gardens, flowing underneath, and those people are the successful. Allahu Akbar. So when this ayah came down, Abu Ubaidah was completely, satisfied, content, and everything else. So, but inshallah, we're gonna stop here because of the time. So we're gonna talk about next time, inshallah. We're gonna talk about how those body from the Quraysh, what happened to them, how they got buried. We're going to talk about also the booty, meaning the spoil of the war. What's going to happen to those, the money or the wealth they got from the war, what's going to happen to them? Because at this time, the ruling about war's booty, that ayah didn't come down yet. And also, what Prophet said about these things, what Abu Bakr said, what Umar said. And we're going to talk about the ruling in terms of jurisprudence, in terms of fiqh, in terms of Islamic law, in terms of those who are who pass away, or the dead body. When you go to a grave, you talk to a dead body. Are they listen? Do they hear what you're saying, or do they don't hear what you're saying? What's the ruling and Islamic perspective on that? Inshallah, that will be our next lesson. So أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم سائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.